Whoever's operating this escalator is in big trouble.
I said, well, let's see how we say that. I said,
Escalator, I'm really good at this stuff. And I don't say that in a braggadocious way, but it's true.
nothing bad can happen. It can only
Escalator.
happen.
All I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle.
Gavin Newsom and his press office has been mocking the hell out of Donald Trump lately. But this post right here, this lie social post right here from Donald Trump, I'm just going to read it because this is a mockery of itself. I saw this yesterday, but I was too tired. I was like, I need a break. But y'all needed this post, this lie social post, because who is asking for this? People are like, grocery costs are too high, gas is too high, my electricity payment is too high, everything is too high. So what does Donald Trump say? He says, I have been asked by many people about the life and times of Amelia Earhart. Such an interesting story. And would I consider declassifying and releasing everything about her, in particular, her last fatal flight? This is what people are asking for. This, like, what? She was an aviation pioneer, the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic and achieve many other aviation firsts. She disappeared in the South Pacific while trying to become the first woman to fly around the world. Amelia made it almost 3/4 around the world before she suddenly and without notice vanished, never to be seen again. Her disappearance almost 90 years ago has captivated millions. I am ordering my administration to declassify and release all government records related to Amelia Earhart, her final trip, and everything else about her. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. This is one of those things where he was just like sitting up here on the bathroom and he's like, Amelia Earhart. That's what they're thinking. What is this? And who asked for this? Is it you? Is it you? Who asked for this? Here's Gavin Newsom saying, America, release the Epstein files. Trump, did you say Amelia Earhart? We got this picture, release the, and then what does this say? It starts with an E, files. And then Trump is yelling, Earhart. That's where we are right now. This is where we are right now. This is ridiculousness. Anthony says, be patient. Who do you think was flying Epstein's plane? So we're connecting the dots now. Yesterday, the press office for Gavin Newsom posted this tweet. Stephen Miller is a fascist. And to that, Stephen Miller reposted it saying, why do you think they posted this? And to that, the press office says, because you're a fascist. See, now we're getting questions answered. So many questions. Under Stephen Miller's comment, Carrie Dwin says, Hitler didn't start with camps. He started with make Germany great again, banning books, targeting the press, blaming immigrants, creating enemies from neighbors, defunding the arts, stoking fear of outsiders, demonizing educators. Sound familiar, or should I type louder? The Great Gig posted this cartoon right here. We have this police officer, he has a baton, and he's saying, stop calling us fascists. We're calling them fascists because they are fascists. They're trying to control press. They are trying to arrest their political enemies. They are stoking flames. They are they're kidnapping people off of the streets. They're not identifying themselves. We're living in a police state right now. And I'm sorry, but now I have to talk about some seriousness. Donald Trump is at war with Americans. He's at war with anybody that does not like the way he is running over people. He put out this lie social post saying, at the request of Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, I'm directing Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, to provide all necessary troops to protect war-ravaged Portland and any of our ICE facilities under siege from attack by Antifa and other domestic terrorists. I'm also authorizing full force if necessary. Thank you for your attention to this matter. He is waging war on cities. He's waging war on Americans. And people are just okay with this. Here's Gavin Newsom. Donald Trump is waging war on American cities. The courts have already said this is illegal, but he's pushing forward anyway. This isn't about holding violent organizations accountable. This is about inciting violence and chaos so he can continue to consolidate power. Wake up, America. This is not, even if you are MAGA, this is not the precedent you want to set, because the pendulum is going to swing. And I don't think that any Democrats are like this, but this is not life. We're not under a dictatorship. Why are people okay with this? This is a parody account of the press office. It says, Donnie Deep State is sending troops to fight Antifa. Who is he fighting next? Hamburglar and Darth Vader? Instead of attacking our cities, he should attack whoever stole his testosterone and hair. Sad. I'll donate my amazing mane and machismo if he stops his war on America. GCN. And like I said, this is a fan account. I think that this is a hippo instead of a bear. So, but we still need to throw in some mockery, even though all of this is very, very serious. Now, this is the actual press office. You can see that that is an actual bear. It says, poor Petey Hegseth wants to be taken seriously, but looks like the guy TLC fired from Duck Dynasty. Weak, no brains, no talent, zero future. He wants to be Secretary of War, but cannot even throw an axe or do a good pull-up. Sad. The only right thing is his hair, but mine is still better. Soon he'll crawl back to the weekend Fox lineup with Tommy Toilet Loren. Perfect match. Marriage soon. GCN. And we can't forget that Christian conservative Pete Hegseth, excuse me, I almost called him Hegseth. Pete Hegseth is an alcoholic. He's cheated on all of his wives so far, but he espouses good Christian conservative values. I just wanted to remind us all that he is a cheater, and he came from Fox as a weekend news host, and now he's the Secretary of War. Back to some serious news, but y'all need to know what this administration is doing. Everybody is not on Twitter like I am. So this is from the press office. It says, the White House knows exactly what it was doing when they published a list of Democrats who have used their voice to call out Trump and Miller's ICE abuses. The list is now being used by the far right as an enemies list. It's reckless, it's dangerous, and it puts lives at risk. The governor has made it clear consistently that violence is never justified. Trump must tone it down. These MAGA influencers are just sharing this list. Listen to this list and who they are targeting and why. Representative Jasmine Crockett compared ICE to slave patrols. Representative Sylvia Garcia referred to ICE agents as thugs. Representative Delia Ramirez attacked ICE as a terror force. Representative Amelia Jayapal called ICE agents deranged and accused them of kidnapping and said resistance to ICE is inspiring. Representative Rashida Tlaib said ICE is terrorizing our communities and turning our country into a fascist police state and called it a rogue agency. This is everything that they're doing. Representative Ayanna Priestley said ICE is terrorizing our communities. Representative Max Frost compared ICE operations to some of the worst horrors and crimes against humanity in history. So we finally got a man mixed in there. Representative John Larson said ICE is the SS and the Gestapo, which it is. Representative LaMonica McIver incited people to shut down the city because we are at war. Representative Stephen Lynch smeared ICE agents as the Gestapo and nondescript thugs, which it is. Representative Dan Goldman compared federal agents to secret police who must be unmasked. Representative Becca Balint called ICE agents vigilantes who can't be trusted. Representative Ilhan Omar said ICE agents are vile and beyond cruel and that the agency should be abolished. Representative Nikki Baczynski called ICE agents dangerous and reckless. Senator Bernie Sanders asked people to figure out a way to stop ICE from what they are doing as soon as possible. Senator Elizabeth Warren claimed ICE is intentionally stoking fear and tearing communities apart. All of this stuff is true. Representative Hakeem Jeffries implored people to fight the Trump administration in the streets and declared ICE agents will be unsuccessful in protecting their identities no matter what it takes. Boston Mayor Michelle Wu compared ICE agents to the neo-Nazi group NSC 131. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson accused ICE of being secret police who are terrorizing our communities. LA Mayor Karen Bass spread a disgusting fabricated hoax that ICE kidnapped a woman on her way to work. Are they not kidnapping people? Representative Gil Cisneros claimed ICE has terrorized people through racial profiling. This is absolutely what ICE is doing. Republicans are in charge of government. Republicans have the House and the Senate. They have the presidency. They have the Supreme Court. But the government is about to shut down next week. And remember, Donald Trump sitting up here trying to blame everything on the radical left. He says, after reviewing the details of the unserious and ridiculous demands made by the minority radical left Democrats in return for their votes to keep our thriving country open, I have decided that no meeting with their congressional leaders could possibly be productive. They are threatening to shut down the government of the United States unless we can have over $1 trillion in new spending to continue free healthcare for illegal aliens, a monumental cost, force taxpayers to fund transgender surgery for minors, have dead people on Medicaid rolls, allow illegal alien criminals to steal billions of dollars in taxpayer benefits, try to force our country to, again, open our borders to criminals and to the world, allow men to play in women's sports, and essentially create transgender operations for everybody. That is what he said that they were doing. And then I found the letter and I read it. I read it on a different video. I'm just going to smush it on the tail end of this. Once again, the Republicans have the House and Senate. Whatever they put through, if they could actually govern, then they could pass something, but they can't because they can't even get things together between themselves, other Republicans, because everything that they do is just cruel. It's cruel. And so like this, take this picture, use this, because this is going to be on Trump's watch. The Trump shutdown is looming. Thousands will lose their jobs. Fun fact, every shutdown for the past 30 years has occurred when Republicans controlled the House. Republicans can't govern. And then it says, Trump is the weakest and most failed president, and Congress is just as bad. Now I'm going to attach the letter that the Democrats sent to Donald Trump and MAGA Mike and talking about what they expected to get them to sit down. They are very adult in asking for these things because Republicans want to continue to be cruel and Democrats are like, no, we're going to have, this is politics. You want something, you have to give something as well. All right, let me know what you think about all of this. All right, this is the Democrats' letter. You see the Congress seal at the top. It says, September 20th, 2025, Dear President Trump, we write to demand a meeting in connection with your decision to shut down the federal government because of the Republican desire to gut the health care of the American people. At your direction, Republican congressional leaders have repeatedly and publicly refused to engage in bipartisan negotiations to keep the government open, notwithstanding the fact that partisan Republican spending bill has been defeated. The GOP majorities in the House and Senate have skipped town and abdicated their responsibility to fund the government. Democrats have been clear and consistent in our position. We are ready to work toward a bipartisan spending agreement that improves the lives of American families and addresses the Republican healthcare crisis. However, we will not support a dirty spending bill that continues the Republican assault on healthcare, which includes devastating Medicaid and Medicare cuts, skyrocketing premiums, copays, and deductibles. The refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, unprecedented attacks on medical research and the public health system, the suppression of vaccine availability, and the forced closure of hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health clinics nationwide. With the September 30th deadline fast approaching, Republicans will bear responsibility for another painful government shutdown because of the refusal of GOP congressional leadership to even talk with Democrats. As a result, it is now your obligation to meet with us directly to reach an agreement to keep the government open and address the Republican healthcare crisis. The cost of living in our country is way too high. Tens of millions of Americans are on the brink of their healthcare costs increasing by thousands of dollars per year, risking bankruptcy for many families. We do not understand why you prefer to shut down the government rather than protect the health care and quality of life of the American people. Thank you for your prompt attention to this matter. Sincerely, Hakeem Jeffries, House Democratic Leader, and Chuck Schumer, Senate Democratic Leader. So that's the thing. Absolutely nothing in this letter. I was right. I was right when I said I bet you nothing that Donald Trump said in that live social post was in this. The fact that Democrats are using this as a way to try to claw back some of the protections that the one big beautiful BS of a bill wiped out when it came to Medicare, Medicaid, and all of the social safety nets, the funding for hospitals and stuff. They are trying to look out for Americans, and not just Democratic Americans, but all Americans. What the Republicans did with the one big beautiful BS of a bill was some BS, and it's harming people. So Democrats are saying, look, y'all gonna have to talk to us, and this is what's going to happen. So go ahead and chime in and let me know what you think about this.
President Trump, Schumer.